Well, hello everybody. Chag Sameach, Aziz and Pesach. I'm sorry I can't be with you. I was going to be with you, but they decided to schedule votes on tonight, which wasn't the original intent. But let's have a good Seder and start off the holiday right. Why on this night is the rule of law especially important for our democracy? Maintaining the rule of law and investigating threats against it is a core obligation of Congress and of the House Judiciary Committee in particular. We have seen the damage done to our democratic institutions in the 2 years of the Trump administration that the Congress refused to conduct responsible oversight. Congress must provide a check on the abuse of power. Our newly launched investigations focus on the alleged obstruction of justice, public corruption, and other abuses of power by the President, his associates, and his administration. We will act quickly to gather information, to assess the evidence, and to follow the facts wherever they lead with full transparency. This is a critical time for our nation, and we have a responsibility to investigate these matters and hold hearings for the public to have all the facts and decide then where to go. On all nights, we welcome those who seek a better life in our country. Why do the Trump administration's immigration policies go against what we learned from the Passover Seder? The administration's callous immigration policies of denying asylum seekers, separating families, ending protections for dreamers, and more have thrown hundreds of thousands of families into turmoil, fear, and uncertainty. As we debate immigration policy, it's important to remember that the status of immigrants is not peripheral to the Torah but central to it. The most often repeated commandment in the Torah, 35 or 40 times in slightly different formulations, is Et hager lo tilchatz, ki atem yadatem et nefesh hager, ki gerim hayitem eretz Mitzrayim. You shall not oppress the stranger, for you know the heart of the stranger, for you are strangers in the land of Egypt. It is hard to read the news without thinking about that message. Immigrants are an essential part of our communities. To remove them or prevent others from entering the country is immoral. And we have always recognized that. The quote on the Liberty Bell is a biblical quote. And that quote is, "And thou shalt proclaim liberty throughout the land unto all the inhabitants thereof." A better translation is, and to all who dwell therein, who live there, l'chol yoshvoteha. To everyone who lives there, not to citizens, not to people who were born there, everyone. On all nights, those who seek to serve our country are held in the high regard. Why does President Trump seek to ban transgender service members from serving in our nation's military? Banning military service by transgender people is not only bad policy, it is unconstitutional. No American who is willing and able should be denied the honor and responsibilities that come with serving in our armed forces solely on the basis of their status as a member of a protected group. It is time to say enough is enough to the prejudice, harassment, and indignities the LGBT community has faced for far too long. We used to ban gay and lesbian soldiers. Now we're banning transgender soldiers. Neither is constitutional, neither is right, neither serves the interests of our country to have the strongest possible military. On all nights, a hate crime committed against a member of any group is an attack on all of us. Why do federal officials refuse to recognize and combat the rise of hate crimes taking place around the country and the world? Why in particular do they refuse to recognize and acknowledge the rise in hate crimes because of white nationalism and racism? Hate crimes increased 17% last year, and hate crimes motivated by anti-Semitism rose 27%. Hate crimes, unfortunately, remain vastly underreported, so these troubling numbers fail to capture the extent of the problem. All of this is playing out against the backdrop of President Trump's rhetoric. He calls himself a nationalist. He falsely asserts that foreigners are the primary sources of domestic terror. He famously claimed that there were some very fine people on both sides of the riot in Charlottesville, where neo-Nazi marchers marched chanting, "Jews will not replace us," and then killed one counter-protester and two officers of the Virginia State Police. The House Judiciary Committee is charged with confronting the threat hate crimes pose, and we will be taking action on this matter.